What's up everyone? This might be a quicker video. I just got through a 2-hour drive dealing with a bunch of recalled dealership stuff. I'll spare you with all my boring life news, but let's talk about some Bitcoin news. We have some huge news that happened yesterday. One of the best days we've seen from the spot Bitcoin ETFs, a top 3 day, the best day in the last 5 months or something like that. Just look at this, an $870 million inflow. And IBIT alone had a $629 million inflow day. That push towards those all-time highs is definitely bringing some excitement. We know it's coming. We know that breakout is on the way. Grayscale, funny enough, saw an outflow. Although it was small, a $17 million outflow. And in terms of volume, IBIT traded $3.3 billion today, which is the largest number in 6 months. And Eric Balchunas says this is a bit odd because Bitcoin is actually up 4%. Typically, ETF volume spikes when there's a big crisis or a downturn. This is a sign of a FOMO frenzy. And Eric Balchunas' guess is that we are in fact getting a FOMO frenzy. Look for more big inflows like this. We also have some more crazy spot Bitcoin ETF news. Now, I talked about on Monday how if we see this consistent amount of inflows, something like 300 million per day average, by Friday, the spot Bitcoin ETFs will have over 1 million Bitcoin in holdings. Well, that number might come even sooner at the rate we're going. And also we have news that BlackRock's fund, IBIT, broke 30 billion in assets under management. And this all happened as Bitcoin nearly reached all-time highs, just a hair away, $200 away from all-time highs. But yeah, BlackRock has now reached the $30 billion mark, and this is less than 10 months after the ETF launch. And now BlackRock alone is holding over 417,000 Bitcoin. Just a couple days, this was like 400,000. They are on their way to have 500,000 Bitcoin just in that fund alone. And this is obviously as of yesterday. We don't have today's numbers yet. Very likely we're going to see it today possibly. The US ETF combined total is 995,000 Bitcoin, nearly taking #1 spot, taking it over from Satoshi himself. 1.1 million. They are going to pass Satoshi this year, maybe by the end of November. They are going to pass 1 million this week, maybe even today. Now I do want to show you Bitcoin. It is very encouraging that we're still holding above that 69,000. We didn't just quickly spike back down like we have seen in the past. We didn't see this false breakout where we spike back down into this pattern. We are holding out of this pattern. We are creating a new pattern. I would argue our new pattern is this ascending channel. And this is just on the weekly. Let me show you on a shorter term time frame on the daily. Look at this clear reaction. We are definitely bouncing off of this as a support and rejecting off of this as a resistance. We are in this pattern, this trend right now, this ascending trend. We are no longer in this descending trend. We broke out of this massive bull flag. We are about to break all-time high if history is any type of indicator of what's to come. Bitcoin, every time in history on a halving year, Q4 has seen a massive rally. And we are in that quarter right now. We are going through it right now. One thing to realize, I do want to show you guys, we did see a bearish divergence. I'm looking at the hourly, shorter term time frame. This might be the one we were talking about yesterday actually, where we saw the price rising. However, we saw the RSI cooling down. You see the RSI topped out right here on this spike. It did not top out here. We are looking at an RSI divergence. The price rose while the RSI cooled down, and we did pull back a little bit. It does look currently like we're trying to hold up these previous peaks as support. You know, we do have this 69.8, which is a little bit over the yellow line here, which is the last cycle peak. This was the top of Bitcoin last cycle, this yellow line. We broke it. First we found it as a resistance, found it resistance again, and broke out and had a nice reaction. Now it does look like we are reacting to the 71,000 area. This zone here, I would like to see it establish as support. Give us what we need to break out of that all-time high, break out of this price here. Maybe a little bit of cooling down is in order. Like I said the other day, on the 4-hour, Bitcoin is the most overbought it's been in multiple months. A little short-term coolback may be in order. That doesn't mean we're gonna just return down to 60,000 necessarily. And let me show you another time. I showed you guys this before, but just to kind of hammer it home. You know, last time we were overbought, very similarly, we did cool off a little bit, but then we went on to break that previous high point. We went on even higher. It will at times cool down and then keep going. Just because we become overbought doesn't mean we have to return back to oversold. Could we come down and test our previous cycle high? Sure, that is not out of the question at all. There is going to be a lot of volatility. We have PCE coming out tomorrow, I believe. We have FOMC in a couple days. We have the election in a couple days. There are going to be these huge rips and dips. But as long as we follow this ascending channel, that's what I'm watching. As long as we maintain this previous cycle peak as support, that's one thing I want to see. I mean, we are now above our moving averages. We're seeing the first golden cross that we've seen since late 2023 when we went on our last rally. Things are looking good. Now, I do want to quickly mention btbt. We did break out of this kind of a longer term trend that it was stuck in, and we did get a reaction out of it. And it did even come down and test it as a support. Quickly got bought up. Now we're trying to hold this previous peak as a support. But btbt also is looking nice. We held our golden cross a few months ago. It has maintained it. It didn't flip back to a death cross. It has consistently been seeing higher lows, but also some lower highs. It has been consolidating, which is fine. But if you follow btbt's longer term trend, I do think this is going to continue throughout Bitcoin's overall bull run. It was 55 cents at the bear market lows, and it is working its way to $5. This is a Bitcoin miner that is reporting in December. They will have a very good idea on forward guidance because we'll have already experienced that quarter. We'll have known where Bitcoin traded at throughout October, November, and December. So when they give forward guidance, it should be good as long as Bitcoin continues the trend it's in. But things are looking pretty good for btbt despite expecting a quarter-over-quarter decrease in revenue. They are going to see a pretty massive year-over-year revenue increase to the tune of almost 100%. Increase year over year. This was a Bitcoin miner that reported profitability pre-halving, which I do like to see. And btbt is also one of the few miners that's a play on Ethereum as well. If you expect Ethereum to rally later in this season, in alt season, later in Bitcoin cycle, I think btbt is a great pick. If you want an AI play, I think btbt is a great pick. And as for their AI, it is quickly outpacing the Bitcoin mining. When they were just solely Bitcoin miner, they were hovering right around 10 million, give or take, in revenue per quarter. And now they're right in the 20s, and pretty much per quarter, their revenue from AI, at least the last time I checked, is in the $12 million range. And their goal is a revenue run rate of about 100 million per year, starting in 2025. I might be wrong on that, but basically their revenue moving forwards, their annualized revenue run rate, they do expect to get to $100 million per year just from their AI. So that'd be about 25 million per quarter, give or take. And just to show you guys that I'm not crazy, I'm not making stuff up, Digital has in fact reached a $50 million revenue run rate so far, and they are projected to hit 100 million annualized revenue run rate in the near term. But these are the days you want to take advantage. And there's another thing I wanted to mention and I wanted to bring up. I probably should have started at the beginning with this because a few people might hear this. I get comments left and right on a day like yesterday, okay, where Bitcoin is slightly up, the Bitcoin miners are cooling down. What is happening? Why is Bitcoin going up and the Bitcoin miners are going down? Why is this? And my only advice to you is look at the day before. What did they do the day before? I'll wait. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to wait. What did they do on the day before? Many Bitcoin miners rallied 10%, double digits, 20%, 25% in some cases against the Bitcoin 2% run-up. So keep in mind, there are going to be days where they massively outperform Bitcoin. And maybe the following day or a couple days later, Bitcoin only goes up 2-3%, has a decent day for Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin miners actually pull back. This will happen. If you've been in this space, you know what to expect. You have seen this so many times. So please guys, hopefully you watch this part, but just keep that in mind when you want to make a comment about that. Look at what they did the day before. Look at what the trend has been. btbt, CleanSpark, Iron, a lot of these Bitcoin miners are going to continue to outperform Bitcoin. Zoom out a bit. btbt was 55 cents in its bear market low. btbt, even with, somewhat lackluster performance lately, I mean, it's not at its recent high where Bitcoin is, btbt has still done a 7x, 700% up. That's against Bitcoin's roughly 5x. This is after the miners have taken a massive drop because of the halving, bringing them back to unprofitability, those that made it at least. So just keep in mind, these Bitcoin miners are going to outperform Bitcoin in my opinion. There are going to be days though where Bitcoin's up like 2-3% or something, and people are freaking out like, why are the Bitcoin miners down? Remember, market makers gotta market make. Remember, retail likes to get in on these bullish options. Market makers like to let those options expire worthless. Market makers like to fool the market. Market makers like to trick retail. Make you think something's gonna happen and then it does the opposite and you're scratching your head like, why is it doing that? Simply just zoom out, follow the cycle, and overall these Bitcoin miners will outperform Bitcoin. MicroStrategy clearly will outperform Bitcoin. A lot of these Bitcoin proxies, Bitcoin derivatives, they will outperform. Some won't, of course, and that is why we're diversified. That's why you have a few of your favorite Bitcoin miners. But days like these are those last chances to buy, in my opinion, before Bitcoin breaks out to a new all-time high, before Bitcoin goes on that epic rally that we all expect, that we all know and love, these are the chances to buy your Bitcoin miners before it's too late. Before everybody gets piled in with those questions. Should I buy now? Is it too late to buy? CleanSpark's $25. Should I buy? Iron is $20. Should I buy? BTBT's $10. Should I buy now? Is it too late? Maybe at that point it will be a little too late. But anyways, thanks as always for watching, guys. Just stay the course. Ignore the noise. Pay attention to what's really going on. Sure, there's going to be an occasional red day against a Bitcoin green day, but take advantage of it. In the end, these Bitcoin miners are so closely tied to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin rallies, it is a matter of time that the Bitcoin miners will rally too, especially with Bitcoin where it's at, especially where they're just getting back to that profitability after we got through the halving, cutting rewards in half. Now we have the rest of the cycle to look forward to these Bitcoin miners posting some profitable quarters, getting that added hype in, getting that crazy excitement, that euphoria, and that is when it's time to build up our cash pile and get ready for the next crypto winter. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.